It's a bright summer's day in the frosty mountain range, and birds sing in the distance. A hairy man comes out of his cave dwelling and looks out on this peaceful day. In the distance, a war horn is heard, and blue banners begin to dot the forest. Alright everyone, settle down. We'll have a big class today. Today's topic is the entire continent of Eivelande, and yes, this will be on the test, so get your notes out. Because of the size of the continent, we'll split this lecture into 3 sections: the center, the west, and the east. We'll start with the west. In 2000 PH, we only had 3 nations in this area: the Lamali Tribe, the High Water Kingdom, and the Reefer Protectorate. The Lamali were a tribe of people known as the Shimaweon. These people were incredibly unique biologically, being incredibly hairy and having a more ape-like appearance. Even their vocal tracts were unique, as their language seems to be made up of incredibly rare and difficult sounds for a modern human. Biological studies have determined that they were still Homo sapiens, though they were very close to being their own species of human. Due to their appearance, they are also often called Bigfoots. The Bigfoot people were mostly... Hold on a second, I have a phone call.
Professor, this is the 3rd time you've called the Shimawayan people Bigfoots in the past month. This is unacceptable behavior, and needs to be stopped now if you want to keep your job. Do you understand?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Good. Alright, get back to your lecture. Don't let it happen again.
Anyway, as I was saying, the Shimaweon people had once been a present throughout what was known to the Shimaweon as the Avgib mountain range. These people lived here peacefully for many years before the War of the Gods, otherwise known as the Shimaweon Genocide by contemporary historians. This genocide was caused by the High Water people. After the war, the Shimaweon were forced to migrate into the caves in the far south of the range, and from there they consolidated into the Lamali Tribe under Simonius the Grand. After this, the Shimaweon people experienced an age of prosperity known as the Golden Sunrise for over 3 centuries. The High Water Kingdom had only recently formed, just like the Lamali Tribe, with historians pinning its creation to around 290 PH. Contemporary historians classify the group of peoples before the establishment of the more centralized kingdom as the High Water people. The High Water peoples were incredibly skilled martially and had incredibly advanced medical knowledge for the time. Despite the name, the High Water peoples were ruled by a monarch, though the monarch had very loose control over his lands other than the capital city. Eventually, the High Water peoples got into a conflict with the Shimaweon peoples, who were the ancestors of the Lamali tribe as mentioned previously. The true reason for the outbreak of the war is unknown. The reason provided by the High Water King, King Titi, known in English as Shark Slayer, was that one of the Shimaweon people had murdered his daughter while they were traveling to the edge of their domain. Historians nowadays generally dispute this reason, due to the Shimaweon's mostly peaceful nature at this point. Whatever the reason, Shark Slayer declared a war against the Shimaweon in 2125 PH that would last just over 2 years. The High Water Monarchy swiftly marched through their opposition's lands and began to kill every single Shimaweon that they could find. Even when they were attacked from the Proto-Reefers on their southwest coast, the High Water people were easily able to destroy their fleet and win the land war, paving the path for future expansion. After this war and the death of King Sharkslayer, his son, Cuttingfish I, took the throne. His 33-year reign would bring about rapid expansion of both the High Water people's martial capabilities and territory, and the centralization and growth within the kingdom that occurred during his reign marked the official beginning of the High Water Kingdom. Finally, the Reefer Protectorate, which was founded by the Proto-Reeferians after the collapse of the Proto-Reefer Society. After having their navy crushed by the High Water, their army was also destroyed during an incident with the Shimaweon, leaving them weakened, less productive, and a victim to attacks from local brigands. In 2102, Samasa Sami Reefer, the daughter of a warrior who died in the northern incident with the Shimaweon, formed the Reefer Band, an organized but decentralized band of civilized proto-racketeers. The strategy of the Reefer Band was that she or one of her quote-unquote underbosses would approach local settlements and offer them protection from the disorganized bands of brigands that previously dominated the land, in exchange for a tribute of food. The lands that eventually came under the Reefer control by the end of Sami's death in 2081 became known as the Reefer Protectorate. Contrasted with the violence before the 2000s PH, the following centuries were filled with an unsteady peace. The High Water Kingdom, after much expansion, encountered a severe plague around 1999 PH, believed by the High Water people to be some sort of final curse by the Shimaweon. Thus, the people named the disease the Big-Footed Devil Curse. This plague began to rapidly spread throughout the nation. The king of the High Water began to focus more internally to mitigate the effect of the infection. With this, the High Water abandoned their expansionist policies, and instead focused on rebuilding the thriving fishing society of centuries past. For over 200 years after this, the High Water were forced into a state of stagnation, unable to expand outwards and unable to improve the internal situation of the state. This time period was known as the Suffering Area to the local people, who blamed the Shimaweon for the derelict state of their country, eternally burning a need for revenge within their society. The Lamali Tribe, on the other hand, began to come out of their caves, both literally and figuratively, establishing major trade routes with other tribes, the Reefers, and even the High Water Kingdom, though secretly. What were they trading? Well, valuable minerals. The Lamali took advantage of their position in the mountains to mine and trade valuable resources, such as quartz, copper, silver, and even gold. This increased connectivity with the outside world and the intermingling with outsiders caused the Shimaweon to become more normal in appearance. Eventually, this economic prosperity stagnated due to poor leadership and diplomatic incidents with other nations, though the Lamali proficiency for metalworking led them to be one of the first nations to develop consistent ironworking by around 1550 PH. Finally, the Reefers. After the death of Sami the Slayer, the growth of the Protectorate began to slow significantly. Additionally, the scale of the towns which pledged tribute to the Reefer Band quickly became inefficient due to travel times. To make matters worse, the borders of the nation were sparsely protected, and oftentimes raiders were able to sack multiple towns and be long gone before the Reefers could react. A cunning new overboss named Mapi from one of the eastern tribes rallied support. Combining strategic cunning with battle prowess, he led a punitive expedition to crush these hostile groups. He began a new strategic precedent for the nation: vengeance and proactive expansionism. For a few generations, Mapi's ruthless methods became the model for Reefer expansion, although no successors matched the pace of his advance. We leave the Protectorate as a massive state compared to the beginning of the era, and the nation seems to be on the rise. With that, this is how we leave Eivelande after this episode. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to subscribe to be notified when a new History 2 video comes out. Also remember to like and comment for more content like this. I also have some other videos out which I think you'll like, one of which is on the screen now. Stay crazy!